How you doing, everybody? There's 3 of us here today.
Yeah, we picked up a stray.
This is Kevin. Hey, Kevin.
Hey, Kevin.
Have you ever been wiping your butt before, and then you keep wiping, and then no matter how many times you wipe, it's like the poop never goes away, and then you look down at the toilet to see what it was, and then there's nothing there. It's
a phantom poop.
That's a lot. That's a lot. That's a lot of stuff.
That's why I use baby wipes. The best part about us having a third person.
He brought gifts.
Yeah, we have refreshing Zimas.
He said these Zimas, we've never had Zima before,
No,
officially.
we're a bunch of posers.
Not orally, anyways.
Yeah.
Right.
Rectories.
Directory.
Random. And I'm sorry to lead the episode off with a shit joke. And I would like to say,
that's what we do.
If you've never listened to the Brohio podcast before, my name is the Delicious Nickalicious. That's Rob Dog over there.
Rob.
We're over here with K Money. He just got here. He brought Zimas. He brought fucking
hearts,
chocolate hearts. I'm going to talk to you about that in a second.
Anatomically correct.
We're terrible. We talk about bad stuff. We use bad language. Sometimes we use kind of dark humor. If you're not into that, head for the hills.
Don't leave us a 1-star.
And if you stay around,
we'll be your friends.
Yeah. And don't leave us a 1-star.
You'll wonder how you ever did without us.
And if you try real hard, you could be sitting where I'm sitting one day.
Dreams. We're making dreams
and
happen.
That's why Kevin's here.
And make a wish.
This is make a wish, right? This is the Patreon episode. What this does for you, you pay $50 towards the old Patreon.
Yeah.
You get to pick your own topic, and you get to be on the show with us. Well, our first gentleman, Mr. Victor, we haven't been able to hook up with him yet. He works like 17 jobs, and he goes to school. He goes to 7 different colleges.
Poor man.
So we're still working that out. We're going to get with him, though.
We definitely will.
Guarantee it.
Yeah.
We love you, Victor.
Very much. Thank you.
We know what you did last summer. Speaking of creepy stuff, we're going to plug a couple podcasts for you.
Yeah.
We got Ghosts in the Burbs. She does a very creepy show, okay? She does I listen to her. She does a funny spin on a creepy show.
Okay.
She's like us. She's almost as bad. She usually gets a little crazy on there. A little bit.
Good.
Not
Good.
quite as nasty as us. But I wrote her. I said, let's do a promo swap. She said, let's do it. She was really excited. So we're really excited to work with her.
Thank you.
That's Liz Sauer over there at Ghosts in the Burbs. We're also doing a promo swap with Moms and Murder. What could be better than MILFs? I mean, Moms and Murder. You got
nothing.
Right. They like to fancy themselves on less known true crime.
Okay.
So if you do listen to these guys, we're getting ready to play their promo swaps. Go leave them a review, leave them a 5-star review, tell them Brohio sent you. So that way they know this wasn't completely for naught.
Make you some more friends.
Yeah, but they
can never have too many.
Both fantastic shows, and we are very happy to plug them.
Check them out.
Hey guys, this is Mandy and Melissa from Moms and Murder, a true crime podcast featuring 2 moms who think they're funny.
Trust us, guys, we are. Join us each week as we discuss both the infamous and unfamiliar stories in the world of true crime.
You can check us out on our website at momsandmurder.com and also connect with us on Instagram, Twitter, and Facebook.
We release new episodes on Tuesdays, so we hope you'll check us out.
I'm Liz, and like the guys from the Brohio podcast, I like a good scare. So I started interviewing my neighbors about their haunted homes and got way more than I bargained for. Check out my podcast, Ghosts and the Burbs, about the people of Wellesley, Massachusetts, and the ghosts and monsters who haunt them.
And go give them a listen. Please.
We're begging you.
Double back and listen to all of our shows first, and then go listen to them.
And realize how much better job they do than what we do.
And one thing they got going for them is they're very attractive, and we're not.
Yes. Who doesn't like attractiveness?
We put pictures of our asshole on Instagram, and it got shut down for a few days.
Yeah. It was rough.
But they don't know that wasn't really our assholes.
They were mine that I was sending to you guys.
It was Kitty's asshole.
And this episode, we're going to be doing, what's his name?
Robert Pickton.
Robert Pickton.
What a fucking crumb bum this guy is.
Listen, this guy, you look at pictures of him,
He looks like he kills hookers.
He looks like he dines on hooker spit and toenails. That's what this guy looks like.
He looks like what I imagine a young Bill Wilkins to have looked like.
Bill Wilkins.
Bill Wilkins has seen some shit.
Bill Wilkins definitely seen some shit. We haven't seen him around these parts in a long time.
Now he's still taking a break.
I sent him a postcard, and we'll see what comes back.
I saw him on the Facebook the other day, and he said, "Don't you worry about what I've been doing."
Don't you worry about what Bill Wilkins is doing.
Right.
My name's Bill Wilkins, and I died my own shit. He's here.
He's always
You
here.
guys channeled him.
He's
Good to
here.
see you, Bill.
He's always here in our hearts.
The thing about Robert Pickton is his nickname is Pork Chop.
Pork Chop Rob.
Pork Chop Rob.
He has a couple nicknames.
So I'm going to be calling him Pork Chop throughout the episode.
Willie. They call him Willie too.
Andre Chikatilo, he was Andre 5000.
Chikatilo.
And this guy's going to be Pork Chop Rob. He's going to be Pork Chop.
Pork Chop.
He just chopped up a bunch of hookers and fed them to people. So we're
Yeah, he's pretty cool
going to
guy.
get into that.
Yeah.
And I would like to tell everybody about our new Patreon subscribers I have
Hey,
here.
thank you very
Yeah.
much.
They're starting with our newest one. We got Thomas Victor Golf. Thank you, Thomas.
Thank you.
Jared, or J-Rod, as I like to call him, Carty. Thank you, Jared. And then Julie. Julie, I can't say she's swinging the big dick.
She is swinging
because she's
the
a-
big dick.
She's a female.
Swinging the big tits,
she's,
man.
She's slinging the big double header.
She's swinging the moon balloons. She's in the $50 club. She's gonna
Thank you, Julie.
pick her own episode. She said, hey, guys, I want to help you guys buy a new microphone. This is going to put you over the edge.
We appreciate it.
We've been over the edge for a long time as far as like our emotional
Mentally,
instability.
yeah,
Yes.
yeah.
But this put us over the monetary edge
Right.
to buy a new microphone.
So it helps,
We're
definitely.
We're going to buy some cool stuff.
We
And
love
then-
you. Thank you.
Yes. And Brad Mossbarger. Thank you,
Barger,
guys.
maybe.
Barger? Mossbarger?
It doesn't matter what the fuck your name is. Thank you.
Brad Mouthbooger?
Aw, you're making fun of him.
Barget.
I can't read real good. Sometimes they told me that I should start a podcast show, and I did it. And then they said, what's your favorite flavor crayon? I said, sweet potatoes. And then it said, let me keep on making the shows about the ghosts and the zombies and the boogeyman and shit. Sorry. I don't know who that was.
Sound
Tell
like
your kid to go back to bed, man.
He sounded like an Earl.
And we have a live show coming up April 14th. April 14th, Cincinnati, Ohio, 2018. Unless you're a fucking time traveler, then I don't know what year it is.
Come hang out with us. See our beautiful faces. Hang out with some cool people. We got some other cool podcasts with us.
We're
It's going to be sexy.
Be with Mysterious Circumstances, Justin Rimmel, Hillbilly Horror Stories. They do true crime about dead prostitutes. I'm just kidding. They do scary stories and ghosts, and you can check them out also.
And Justin Rimmel is our complete opposite when it comes to appearance.
Yeah.
So if you want something
He's a woman.
tall, dark, and handsome to look at,
We look like
Come for that.
We look like together. We look like a fat version of Chris Farley, and
and Shrek.
he looks like a more handsome version of Tom Cruise.
Yeah. Just not as
Short.
Scientology.
You guys kind of look like a bizarro Jay and Silent Bob.
I know.
I'll take that.
If I hold my breath really hard and like push my stomach and like get all in there, I can make my penis come out of the inside of my body.
Ooh, that's
That's
fun.
what I experience.
Without shitting your pants?
Yes, you-
No.
Yeah, that's the
That's a
downside
bonus.
to that one.
Okay. Just so we're clear there. And we would appreciate it if you guys would go to Apple Podcasts and leave us a review. Leave us a 5-star review. We're going to use a lot of Canadian accents this episode. I've been working on my Canadian accent.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Yeah. If you would like to, you can go on Apple review and you can leave us a 5-star review. That would be nice, eh? And I'm not real sure what this is all about.
All about.
I'm trying to capture the magic there. If you think that you want to leave us a 1-star review,
Just reconsider your life choices.
there's a
Just
really
go take a nap.
That's mean.
there's a really nice batch of dirty heroin that we're going to tell you about in this episode. Robert Pickton. Did you learn about his injections?
A little bit.
Okay, yeah. I think that's I have an article to share.
He's a party hound.
He's a he's a good guy.
Yeah,
That's
he's
one way of putting it.
a great person.
He didn't get the death penalty,
Yeah.
so yeah.
Good. Thanks,
We got
Canada.
live.
Thanks, Canada.
Yeah, we're gonna touch.
We'll get to that.
We're gonna touch all that, and then we're gonna touch Kevin after it's all said and done.
Touch all over it.
Normally, I have a funny article. The article's not funny at all. This was kind of like
It's relevant.
It's kind of trippy, man. Yeah, I'm gonna read it to you. It says a time traveler in quotations who claims he is from the year 2030 has passed a lie detector test while revealing a number of weirdly specific predictions about the future. And it's not completely unheard of for someone to just pass a lie detector test.
Yeah, because those are not like without their own problems.
Yeah. In an eerie YouTube video, the man known only as Noah, not as in the guy that saved all the chickens and geese and shit, but this guy, he's just Noah, whose face and voice have been distorted to hide his identity due to his fears he might be assassinated, makes a number of wild claims. You guys are going to like these claims. Noah predicts that Donald Trump, he's our current president, he's the orange guy,
In case you're under a rock.
will win a second term in the White House, which could become reality in just over 2 years with the U.S. presidential election scheduled for November 3rd, 2020. He also predicted another future leader, claiming the U.S. president in 2030 will be a random person named Lana Remiki.
Okay.
That sounds like something that
Rafiki?
the Republicans would definitely vote for. Noah claimed that humans will reach Mars in 2028, the same year time travel will be discovered, and that Google Glass-style robots will take over the world.
I hope this guy's for real. This sounds fun.
That'd be phenomenal.
And going forward here, robots are going to take over the world in a big way if the time traveler man is on the money. The interview begins with him being asked, "Are you an actual time traveler from the year 2030? He responds with a yes, and the word true appears in large green letters, meaning he believes he is telling the truth.
I mean, that's not how polygraphs work.
And everything you see on YouTube is true. So,
True.
folks,
That's not how polygraphs work. I've been polygraphed before.
so have I 3 times.
There's not letters that say true.
That is a fact. Yes, you're correct.
Noah then claims he has hard evidence to back up his predictions, but isn't sure that he can reveal what that is because it might cause a paradox. A paradox. He says his mission is to tell those alive now what the world has in store, and says he has risked his life to travel back in time. Noah attracted the world's attention in November last year. Okay, so he's fucking done this before. When a video went viral of him claiming he had seen the year 2030, he appeared visibly shaken in the bizarre clip, speaking with a distorted American accent, saying, "I want to be clear. My sole objective is to prove to you that time travel exists. In fact, I, myself, am a time traveler. And I, myself, just shit my pants." Donald Trump will serve a second term as U.S. president, according to Noah.
Doubt it.
He claimed he was 50 years old, but had taken an age-reversing
Oh,
drug
this
to make him
fucking guy.
25. I think you can... There's girls on Facebook that sell that stuff all the time. You can get that shit. It's like, you put it on auto ship, and then you get like the good rate and shit.
Oh, okay. Is that how that works?
Yeah.
All right.
He added that his natural year, where he belongs, was 2021, but had been fired and was now stuck in present day. What the fuck?
You're being sent to the past, motherfucker.
A self-confessed depression and anorexia sufferer, Noah said that 2028 would be the year that private organizations admit to the world that time travel is real after knowing about it since 2003. The man says he hides his identity to avoid the risk of being assassinated. He also said that electric and self-driving cars would be drastically improved and that virtual reality and artificial intelligence will be all the rage within the next 4 years. He adds that a popular wearable device like a Google Glass will be everywhere, and everyone will use them to immerse themselves in virtual reality. Noah also predicts that renewable energy will take off. Due to his outlandish theories, Noah has attracted skeptics, with some people claiming he is mad, while others say his predictions aren't hard to guess.
Does he know if the Earth is flat or not, though? That's what I want to know.
Yeah, I mean, it is, so...
Don't don't do that to me.
We're flying around riding on a turtle's dick, or I saw something like that one time. I mean, just get on the fucking internet and watch a video of a rocket going up in the air.
It's fake, man. That shit's fake.
Yeah, it's all composites and everything.
It's fake news.
There's an ice wall that surrounds the world that holds in the water.
I'm
fucking crazy.
certainly more concerned about the reptiles that live inside.
I would be more concerned about the reptiles that don't exist than I would be about the Earth being flat.
There's a Hitler that lives with them too. I've heard that there's reptilians and Hitlers that live inside.
Lizard Hitler?
Yes, lizard. He's a lot better guy than Adolf.
This is like a really good guy.
Just a lizard with just a little turd mustache.
Just misunderstood.
So we've reached the 15-minute mark here, just about.
Okay, cool.
And we've talked absolutely nothing about the case at hand.
Which
here.
this is what we do.
Yeah, so we're going to go ahead and dive
Welcome to the show.
Yeah, we're talking about Robert Pickton. First things first, we could tell you all the nicknames for this deranged shit stain,
We kind of went into it a little bit already.
but the one you need to remember is Pork Chop Rob. They called him the Butcher. They called him Slick Willie.
Yeah, Willie.
They called him the Pig Farmer.
I was calling him Piggly Willy in my head.
Yeah, Piggly Willie.
That's a fun one. I like that.
That's when my uncle used to play a little game where he'd lay me on my back and he'd grab my toes and he'd say, 1 piggy piggy, 2 piggy piggy, and then he'd cram his finger up my ass. And
We had the same uncle.
Clean fun there.
yeah, my
Uncle Bill?
his name was Rob. His name was Rob Brohio. Wasn't it? Sorry, guys.
Oh, God.
I'm trying to make this not bad. They say that ultimately he might have been responsible for about 49 deaths. Although
All women.
yes, he says that in some they went undercover in a cell, and he said that he wanted to make it 50, but
Couldn't get there.
couldn't get there because he sucks.
Could not.
And I honestly don't think that out of all these 49 women, I personally don't think he was responsible for all of them in my thorough research, because I did get our last episode, Denver Airport. I didn't get a lot of research done.
Right.
And that episode sucked for me. This episode, I got it in. I went hard in the motherfucking paint.
Hard in the paint.
Yes. Pickton picked up the women from the Vancouver's downtown east side, several square blocks of squalid hotels, drug dealers, and street-level survival prostitution. Now, I did reach out to a research assistant and put her on the trail for this one. There's a lot that goes hand in hand with the east side of Vancouver and this story in particular. It's kind of always been, that's just a really bad area. At one point, it was called Skid Row, not like
California Skid Row, though.
right. California Skid Row is pretty fucking.
That's
scary.
pretty fucking rough, yeah.
This one's just what at one time was just as bad. But at the beginning of the 20th century, the East Side was the political, cultural, and retail center of the city. During the Depression, hundreds of men arrived to the area eager to work, and many later returned to their hometowns. And when they left town, all the ones that were, that couldn't make it out of town, they were sick and fucking broke their foot or whatever you do to not leave a town, they all stayed behind. And all these, useless, I don't want to say useless, but people that couldn't fucking do anything, that couldn't work or just couldn't contribute, that's what got left behind. All the guys that were working and contributing, they left town for jobs and whatnot. But all the people left behind, they did take up drinking as their means of podcasting. That was their hobby.
Who wouldn't do that?
Right. And in the 1950s, the city center continued to shift westward, which had started in the early 40s with the complete move of the Japantown community after the war, and the tourist traffic began to decline. By 1965, it was known as its relatively high proportion of poor single men who tended to be pensioners, disabled, or alcoholics, like everyone at this table. It was also known for its high levels of prostitution, just like the guys at this table.
Send me there.
Yeah. Even with the westward shift of the east side was still able to stay relatively stable. The neighborhood was, but the overall poverty level did increase. By the 1980s, due to the gentrification of the area, when Vancouver was preparing to host the Expo 1986 World's Fair, the area began to rapidly decline. With the upbuilding of the east side for Expo 86, it's believed to have added the displacement of lower income populations, increased the homelessness population, and there was a large influx of hookers during that time.
Sex workers.
Hell yeah.
Right. So it just, that entire society just broke down. I mean, drugs flooded in. You had a lot of AIDS that became a problem at one point. You had heroin, and even to this day, when you watch the documentaries on the YouTube and whatnot, there's just like fucking people just laying there in the street, just
a big shit show.
Yeah, it's bad. And when this is kind of cool for me, because Canada being our neighbor to the north, we don't know a lot about Canada.
Not at all.
We've made a lot of Canadian friends about since we started doing this podcast. We've met a lot of people from Canada. Yeah. Eh?
Oh yeah,
they're really good people. They're nice. There's a lot of things they do that I'm not sure all about it, but I just like to say about because it makes me sound like I'm Canadian.
Hey,
Hey.
Yeah. And in my mind, America is such a shit show that I think that Canada is quite the opposite. I think of it being pristine and pure.
Just cold as fuck.
Is cold, polar bears raping you when you go to the bus stop and stuff. But apparently that's not the case in all parts of Canada.
Aren't you considered a polar bear in some communities?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's the high school we went to.
Yep.
We are polar bears.
Unfortunately.
Right. But yeah, the east side of Vancouver has a lot to do with the ultimate downfall of Robert Pickton. And some of you may be wondering if Robert Pickton is still alive. Yes, he is still alive.
He is.
He is a ripe old age of 68 years old.
Still pretty young.
Well, he would be 69. Well, he's coming up on 69.
69.
He was born
Oh, yeah.
in the summer of love, 1949. I don't know if that was the summer of love.
I don't think it was.
It was not. And he committed all these murders, but he skated from he skated the law several times. Like he should have been incarcerated 1,000 times before this actually happened. He did a lot of bad shit, but the police did a Dahmer. They fucked it up.
Of course they did.
Are you familiar with doing a Dahmer? You can go back and find out about doing a Dahmer in our Jeffrey Dahmer episode.
Thought you were actually asking me. I was like, yeah.
I do
Does he want me to answer?
I do a Dahmer all the time. But this, the fun thing about this whole entire mess is it can be traced back to a pig farm that Porkchop Rob and his siblings owned. Well, they grew up on this farm and they inherited it, I believe.
Yeah.
That's correct.
They tried to run the farm, and they eventually decided that the fucking shit wasn't for them.
They sold it for an ass ton of money.
And Robert's like, we can sell this place, but I'm probably going to stick around and keep on fucking fisting these pigs and stuff because it's how it's like. I like it. I don't know what it's all about. It's just what I like to do. And they did end up selling them. I think each person's, they profited around $3 million.
Yeah.
So there's nothing more lethal than a guy that likes to kill hookers, and he's got
$3 million in his
rich, yeah.
$3 million in his bank.
And he would lure the prostitutes back to his property with the promise of,
Hey, I got a pig that kind of looks like you. You want to see it?
yeah, like he would tell them straight up, like, it's a pig farm, and I want to take you back.
Nice firm butt.
If that doesn't fucking scream, don't go.
When you get dirty.
I can, like,
You want to eat from a trough?
Hey, I was just wondering what your name was, eh? My name's Ferrari.
I got a pig named Ferrari back at the farm.
Yeah, I got a really nice farm back there for you, eh? You can come back and you can show me your butthole, and then I can cut it in half, and then I'm gonna turn you into some sausage, eh?
You're a real purebred porker, aren't you?
And I've talked to some of our Canadian friends. I'm gonna fuck her name up, Christiane. I can't remember how she says her name.
Yeah,
but I love her. And she said that, I'm like, what is it about Canada? Tell me something about Canada I don't know. And she's like, we put fucking syrup on everything.
God, I want to live there just because of that.
But didn't we already know that?
We're talking about a pig farm, and I think of sausage and syrup. Oh, God.
When I think about syrup, I think about Maine,
Right.
not Canada.
When I think of Maine, I think of lobster, though.
Yeah,
But-
I love lobster.
They too.
Do you
pretty
think
good
they
stuff.
put syrup on their lobster in Canada?
Why not? Maybe there's a butter shortage.
I bet that would be pretty good, though.
I'm not going to hate on it because I haven't tried it.
One mistake that people make in America is you get Mrs. Buttersworth on the fucking shelf. That's not syrup.
No.
That is high fructose corn syrup.
Yeah, that's trash.
That's a crock of shit. You got to get real grade A USDA maple syrup, and it's expensive here, but it's not expensive there. So we're gonna try and get some. And she said there was a big maple syrup crime ring where these people are making like $8 million a year illegally smoggling maple syrup.
bootleg syrup.
Yeah, I got some
Smuggling in their ass.
I got some nice maple syrup in this box right here, eh? And if you get in my face, I'll take this knife and I'll stab you and I'll cut your nose off and I'll put it in this syrup right here.
It's like the politest mugging ever.
But if you would like to buy some maple syrup, I do about $20 a case here, eh? If that sounds good. If that price isn't good for you, I don't know what you're all about. So we're not gonna do the deal.
Do you accept trades?
I love Canadians.
Back to our story here. I'm sorry to get all sidetracked.
This is what we do. This is another thing we do. So
Yeah. So Rob and his brother, David, they operated the pig farm in British Columbia, not far from Vancouver. There was a worker there, and yes, I learned about this worker on fucking Wikipedia, so give me a break, okay? His name is Bill Hiscox.
not Wilkins.
Not your Cox, his Cox.
His Cox, yeah.
Only his Cox.
Yes. And I did reach out to him on Facebook.
You reached out to his Cox.
I waved at him. I added him on Messenger. He did not wave back. He did not reply to my message. I said, "Are
Fucking
you
rude."
I said,
What an
"Are you-"
asshole.
Right. I said, "Are you the Bill Hiscox from the Rob Pickton story?"
You know pork chop?
And he didn't say anything. He read the message, didn't fucking respond. So
Inconsiderate.
Oh,
that tells
How
me
rude.
he was the only Bill Hiscox from British Columbia on Facebook. The age matched. So hopefully you're listening, buddy. Come talk to us.
Nah, fuck you, Bill.
Right. Right. Your last name's Hiscox. We don't want to talk to you. And he was, Hiscox did say that he was, I can't even, I'm going to call you Bill because
It's Cox.
Hiscox is making me really nervous. Like, that cock was fine, but Hiscox is making me really nervous because it's a scary one. He was puzzled by the fact that Rob acted the way he did. He was kind of subdued, but he was really fucking weird. He just was always doing just like.
You're telling me a guy that killed 49 sex workers is a weird guy?
Well, we have to start from the beginning, okay?
Yeah, okay.
And the thing is, this is funny because Hiscox he said like, this is really weird to me because this guy's not on fucking drugs. Like that was his thing. He's like, I don't know why he's acting like this because
He's just really fucking weird,
he's
man.
not on drugs. And they say that he always stunk. Like he had the worst fucking body odor in the history of the world.
Of course.
He slept with the fucking pigs,
He's a
man.
pig farmer.
He looks like a hot dog. Like the top of his head, he looks like a hot dog with a Hulk Hogan haircut. Just little.
He looks like a rat that turned into a fucking.
He looks like
Splinter.
He looks like Master Splinter.
You seen that rat that washing itself on Facebook?
Yeah,
he looks
that's
like
pretty,
that.
that's pretty great.
This dude is nasty. He looks like the Crypt Keepers. Honestly, what he looks like.
Nice.
And to help old pork chop Rob disguise himself as not being a fucking creep, he lived in a trailer on the property.
Nothing more suspicious.
Real inconspicuous there.
Right.
Millionaire living in a trailer.
On a pig farm.
Yeah.
But like I said, they said that he had zero hygiene. He always smelled like shit and hog nuts, and he didn't bathe. His fingernails always looked like he just got done shoving his hand up his ass.
Didn't he have an aversion to water? Wasn't he like terrified of it or something? Like didn't want to wash himself?
That doesn't surprise me.
Yeah, I have an aversion to water as well.
He became a pig eventually. Like he just wanted to be sloppy and gross and muddy and smell like dog shit.
After the sale of the pig farm, they did continue to run a small pig farming operation, but in 1996, this is where the shit gets good. All right. They ultimately decided to open a portion of the farm as Piggy's Palace. Turn your fucking volume up. Piggy's Palace, Good Times Society.
That's the best.
His fucking party palace.
The best name. Piggy's Palace.
And it was named
Times
after him
Society.
because they called him Piggy, right?
Yeah. And Piggy's Palace, Good Times Society.
It's the worst name ever.
If
It's
you're
so
checking
bad.
in your phone book, you're thinking, I just want to fucking ruin my life
Just want
right
to fucking
now.
party right now, man.
Piggy's Palace, Good Times. That's it. I'm calling. This was a federally registered charity with an alleged mandate to raise funds for service organizations through events such as dances and shows. But that's not what they did there, Rob.
It's not.
No.
What do you mean?
But the people that showed up for these shows were getting a little more than just a quick little glimpse of Piggy's Palace. They had a lot. They had various motorcycle clubs. More importantly, a little motorcycle club called the Hells Angels.
Oh.
Yes, this is the bad dudes.
I'm not going to say anything bad now.
Yeah. You know, like...
Those upstanding gentlemen from the Hells Angels.
Everyone has good motorcycle. My wife's family was deeply rooted in the motorcycle gangs, and I'm like, hey, you should come on the podcast. Like, you should shut your fucking mouth right fucking now. I was like, I got a fucking chain and a knife. I'll fight you out in the yard. I don't care right now. But she does have one close family member, friend of the family. She was a Hells Angels girl, and she said she'd love to come on the show and tell some stories.
That would be great.
She said, you can't use my real fucking name. I said, this is my fucking podcast and I can do whatever I want. So you're not gonna get rich coming on my show.
We'll just call you Lily.
Yeah, though that's her name.
Oh shit.
I'm just kidding.
Sorry.
They had lots of motorcycle gangs. The Hells Angels more than anybody. And there was a place across the street called a can. And I don't know what that is slang for. I think a can is what you take a shit in, I think.
Thought it was your asshole.
Yeah, you got to walk across the street to take a shit. No shitting in the Piggy Palace.
Yeah. This is the Piggy Palace. There's no poop in here. But
Take it in the can.
Robert
Right.
fucking starts squealing at you. He's
There was
like,
it was like a flop house or something. It's called the can.
Okay.
We moved our recording studio to a different part of my house. I had to hang up bed sheets to help with the sound, and it looks like we're in a flop house right
Yeah.
you call it the can.
Yeah, this is the can.
This is the can. But at the can, there was a very, very large marijuana grow operation. No shame in that game.
Hey,
Little purple stank wink never hurt anybody.
I gotta love their stank
Except for
wank.
those people that killed, right? One marijuanas.
Yeah, I injected one marijuanas and now I'm dead.
R.I.P.
Yeah,
Rest in peace.
One purple
brother.
stank wank will do you.
and people may not know this about me. I've never really partaken before. I can't get down with the mean green.
Me neither.
I can't smoke cigarettes either.
I've never smoked a cigarette.
I've never
That's
done
real
anything
talk.
but drink.
I've smoked a cigarette like once in my life. I enjoy cigars, and
I'll be out in open right now. We're in Ohio, and it is not recreational or medicinally approved, so
exactly.
I haven't done any of it.
Exactly.
But it's not hard to obtain around here either.
No, I think everyone grows in their backyard. I think I ran some over with a lawnmower over the summer. I don't
Oops.
know. Yeah, I don't know.
Well, you
what it
forgot you were growing it there.
That neighbor,
shit!
that neighbor still doesn't like you.
Meant to smoke all that. But that was there was a major marijuana grow operation, and there was a lot of sex trade workers going in and out of the Piggy Palace.
In and out.
and Piggy's Palace was under constant duress from the neighbors due to loud parties, pigs squealing. Why? Yeah, never mind.
Use your imagination on that.
There
one.
was often times that parties would result in the attendance of 2,000 people. They were drunk. They were loud. They'd have live fucking bands. There's drug usage. They even had raves there.
That's pretty sweet.
Word on the street was that Nickelback played there once.
Really?
Yes.
Is that for real?
That's word on the street.
Okay.
All right.
I can neither confirm nor deny
The
it.
thing about Nickelback is they fucking suck.
Hey man, don't act like if you're at the Piggy Palace. And
I feel like it
some
would be
pigs,
perfect for the
it's
Piggy Palace.
Pretty
though.
set in the mood, man. Want to be a rock star?
Yeah. Now, I will give that guy mad props because he was railing out Avril Lavigne.
Hookers.
Yeah.
You mean not Avril Lavigne? Avril Lavigne's dead. She's been replaced.
What?
Yes.
Oh yeah.
You haven't heard about that?
Yes, I have.
We
heard
should
about
do an
that.
episode on that
that'd
one.
be
Oh, we're going
interesting.
to.
Now it's time to talk about his first major run-in with law enforcement.
No.
He did pick up she was called a hitchhiker, but ultimately she was a prostitute.
Yeah.
On March 23rd, 1997, Pickton was charged with the attempted murder of sex worker Wendy Lynn Estet. She was picked up as a hitchhiker. She was really a nasty hooker. Wendy claimed she was handcuffed by Porkchop, and he attempted to stab her to death.
What a romantic.
The most frightening part about this part of the story is he stabbed her with a poop knife.
Oh man, that's right.
Could you imagine the infection involved with that? He said, "I don't have a clean knife. All I have my poop knife."
Sorry, boot this. You gotta stab you with the poop knife.
Sorry about this poop knife here, but I'm gonna have to stab you with it.
It was the politest attempted murder ever.
Right? You're probably wondering what this is all about. What we're gonna do is we're gonna stab you with this poop knife. Wendy claimed she was handcuffed by Porkchop.
Sexy.
And he attempted to stab her to death.
No, that's not
she
sexy.
was covered in cuts and was bleeding to death. And there was an interview conducted with her mother. And her mother said that Wendy, there's kind of conflicting stories here. She either disarmed him and stabbed him with his own poop knife.
Okay.
Or she ran to the cupboard and got a new knife instead. But she did inflict some serious harm on him to the point where he had to go to the hospital as well. She was able to escape the handcuffs. And the cool thing about this part of the story is when they did the search warrants, when they finally did charge him with all the murders, they found fuzzy handcuffs. So maybe he was using fuzzy handcuffs on her, and that's why she escaped.
That's just a good time.
Just slipped right out of him.
And I've heard
That's polite.
And I've heard that before. That's kind of why they make fuzzy handcuffs. So that way, if you're like kind of in an oh shit situation,
fuck this, I'm out of here.
The guy, he drops trowel and he's got a 17-inch hanger, and you're like, oh fuck, not getting a hysterectomy tonight, and get the fuck out of here.
You're fucking over there dropping your safe word, and he's not stopping.
Yeah, coconut. You're not gonna put these coconuts up inside you. You gotta slip the fuzzy handcuffs and get the fuck out of there. Mm-hmm. Yeah, she slipped the handcuffs. She's able to injure him enough to send him to the hospital. She made it out to the road, and she was picked up by an elderly couple. The elderly couple flagged down a police officer. They got her to the hospital. Robert did end up at the same hospital as her.
Well, that's fun.
Just separated by a curtain.
Right. Yeah, exactly. I just want to apologize. I know that I did some really mean stuff tonight, and
It was all in the name of me getting a nut.
so
Sorry, boot that.
yeah, he was charged. The police fucked it up. Sorry.
Way to go.
Super Troopers, were they from Canada?
Sounds about right.
Right.
I don't think so, but
I don't
they
think
were.
so either.
No, they weren't. A trial date was set, but the charges were stayed before the matter went to court. The prosecutor who handled that case refused to be interviewed.
no shit.
The Crown reviewed the state of the evidence, and there was no likelihood of conviction, said Geoffrey Gall.
Well, they were all partying at the Piggy Palace, man. They're all bros.
Right. And he was, Jeffrey was a spokesperson for the Attorney General's office. The mother said her daughter was a drug addict and had credibility problems with the prosecutor's office.
Damn, her fucking mom narked on her.
Yeah, she said, she's
not reliable.
she's a piece of shit.
I'm so disappointed.
The best part of her ran down the crack of my ass and landed in a flower pot. Now she's a blooming fucking idiot. Her whereabouts were unknown for a long time. But her fellow street hookers believe she was in protective custody from the government or the police department, that she scared herself so badly that she was provided with protective custody. Flash forward, though.
She's like in witness protection as a hooker.
And when they're out conducting these investigations, trying to learn about these girls and trying to find out about their whereabouts, they all go by street names. Cinnamon, Crystal, Venus. They got these cool fucking names. So when you call up, you walk up,
What would your poker name be?
you walk up and say, hey, I'm looking for Samantha Ravati. They're like, who the fuck is Samantha Ravati?
Ravioli.
Ravioli.
We got, there's a chick that hangs out over here named Cinnamon. Are you looking for Cinnamon? And the police are like, who the fuck is Cinnamon?
They call me Delicious.
And you do a sketch and you're like, yeah, that looks like Samantha Ravati. That's Cinnamon. And then you're on to something. But the problem was the mix up between the street names and the real names. It's kind of hard.
Why did you automatically make her the hooker?
Do what?
So why did you automatically make her the hooker?
Who is she?
Is that?
It's
just a hooker name, right?
Right. It's a normal regular hooker name.
Sorry, Ravioli.
I know. Never mind. And Wendy, she was eventually. This is the girl that was nearly stabbed to death but got away.
The poop knife.
She was arrested sometime down the road in downtown East Side, the same area where many of the missing women worked in the streets, after stealing a police cruiser and dragging a constable.
That's a fun night.
She
He
said,
didn't pay up, man.
right, I'm going out in a blaze of fucking glory.
All right, so from here, I'm going to take over. I'm going to jump in.
Please don't.
Just drink your Zima. Let me take over here. So from here, Pickton actually became familiar with the area through visits to a rendering plant that was located there. And this is where he disposed of waste animal parts.
You got a sack of pig assholes.
Yeah.
You're either
What are you going to do with it?
You're either going to make hot dogs, because that's what hot dogs are made out of.
You can't eat it all.
Or you're going to take it to a rendering plant.
You gotta render that shit, man.
Or you're going to put hookers in it and you're going to sell it to the public.
There you go. So he would actually cruise the 10-block strip, which was called the Low Track.
Here, hooker.
Sniffing them out, doing pig calls. And he would also offer the women money and drugs. So those he enticed into his vehicles were, of course, taken to the pig farm.
What would it take if someone rolled up on you to get you, like they just rolled up in a blacked out van and they said, hey, I got this in the back seat. I got this in the... What would make you just say, okay, I'm getting in?
I don't know, man. Maybe like a holographic Charizard or something.
That's pretty sweet. I'd take that.
What's that?
A beer.
Some candy.
Yeah, beer or...
Beer.
I don't know.
This has happened
I
to me
man. I
before,
love
so that's why I'm
milkshakes.
at
So
that.
like, if it's like an ice cream truck,
Oh, yeah.
they'd be able to they wouldn't be able to keep me out of it, man.
All the boys would be in your yard.
This
Yes.
guy rolled up on me. He said, hey, Gary, I got some cinnamon Egos in the back of this van right here. And I said, no, thank you, sir.
Or maybe some tasteful nudes.
Yeah. And he said, have you ever tried peanut butter on your cinnamon Egos?
That'll change your
I
life.
just open the fucking door.
He
I'm getting
put
in.
peanut butter on his cinnamon Egos, didn't he?
Let me in the fucking car. And I got in and I ate the Egos and nothing happened.
So a list of names of missing women, which was compiled by the Joint RCMP Vancouver Police Department Missing Women Task Force, begins in 1978 with disappearances of that year of Lillian Jean O'Dare, whose case was not officially connected to
Yeah, that's
Pickton's.
just when they started making this ongoing list that
of all the missing.
kind of ran into all the missings, the 49 missing
Streetwalkers.
women that happened at the hands of Robert.
Right. Now, the earliest of cases on the list connected to Pickton is that of Diana Melnick, who was last seen on the 22nd of December, 1995, although Pickton would not be convicted of Melnick's murder.
I did a lot of acid in 95.
Were we like 8?
5th grade. Yep.
So the most recent case on the list, and one of the 6 murders for which Pickton was convicted, is that of Mona Wilson, who was last seen November 2001.
And I kind of got a soft spot for Mona. I saw her mugshot, and she had a lazy eye, and she looked like she just got smacked on the side of the head with a fucking shovel.
Gorgeous.
Right. But they... I kind of feel bad for saying that. I'm going to go back and not edit that out. But she was adopted, and her brother did a documentary where he walked along the east side to see what it was like. And the family had no idea what she was dealing with. Like, she was completely sold out to drugs and that lifestyle. But when she was little, like 4 or 5 years old, she was raped so badly that she had to go to the hospital, and she was in the hospital for weeks. And when she finally recovered from the abuse that it happened to her, she was adopted by this family, her and her brother, and they were taken under the wing of this family. They took excellent care of her. But then when she turned 16, she kind of ventured off, and they kept in contact with her, but they never realized what she was dealing with and what she was going through. So I just kind of had a soft spot for her to see
That's pretty awful.
how the family, that was seemed like a really strong Christian family, which in today's day and age means absolutely nothing, but in Canada might mean something different. But you never know what someone's going through or what they're dealing with. So we are assholes on this podcast for 2 hours a week, but ultimately we are very caring human beings.
I like to think so.
Kevin was
Don't
in here.
speak for me, all right?
Kevin was in here. He
Okay,
saw my
about
kids
shit.
come in here and kiss me goodnight. They said, I love you. And was unprovoked.
Yeah.
Because,
I'm pretty sure I saw you slip them like a 5 each, though.
right. Yeah, I did.
There's no shame in paying your children for their love.
None at all.
Yeah.
Right, kids?
We don't like to laugh at the expense of the victims, but folks, this was a pig farm. You know what I mean?
That it was.
Do you think he was having sex with the pigs?
Why not?
He wasn't. He was having sex with
I
hookers.
mean,
and
why
kids.
have a pig
That
farm?
is true.
Right.
Is there any other reason to have a pig farm? Yeah.
I mean, besides unlimited bacon.
Oh, God. So now the 26 disappearances that were officially attributed to Pickton occurred in the years as follows. So in 95 there was 1, 96 there was 1, 97 we have 6, 98, there was 4.
That's just confirmed, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
99, there was 5. 2000, there was 2. And 2001, there was 7. So that's his big year right there.
I just like
Now-
to think there's like that one year where he did one where he's like, I'm trying to give this shit up. Like,
Right.
I don't want to
He's
kill no more
Trying to quit
hookers.
cold turkey, but,
But
he can't.
here's the thing: there was a lot of evidence that there was so much evidence that was unrecovered. But a lot of people say that when they had these Piggy Palace parties, that the parties didn't stop after the injunction on the Piggy Palace. He still had people there. There's still parties, but that was kind of the belief in the community of this. I'm sorry, this kind of dark community that you could bring someone there and you could kill them and Robert could get rid of them for you. Or if you had a dead prostitute or a dead whomever, you could take them to Robert and he would get rid of her for you.
Yeah.
So that kind of goes along with my thought process that he might not have necessarily been responsible for all the deaths. I mean, I know
There's no way he was alone in all this.
right. And they say his brother was very involved, but they just couldn't link any evidence
Okay.
to his brother. But I mean, you'll hear about it later in the show. The police, they fucking botched this thing.
Yeah, and another thing you got to think of, which going into the next point that we have here, is that and it's kind of like this with a lot of different serial killers who murder sex workers, is that, it's not real high on police's radar.
No, it's
because
sad.
it's real sad because they have this specific lifestyle, and it's this transient gypsy-esque lifestyle where they're constantly moving, they're getting out of areas, they don't go home often. So
like when we covered Dahmer,
Oh, shit, I think I might be a hooker, guys.
Dahmer was the same way.
that's why you're here.
Where's my money, by the way?
Right. And Dahmer would stalk these guys and he would follow them to the bar. He would make sure that he would make sure that they were at the bar by themselves, and then he would get his prey. And it goes along with the same thing as Andre 5000
Right.
from that episode. He would go to hubs, bus stations, train stations, and he would look for rickety looking kids that were kind of on the go, moving around, and he would take his flaccid wiener and he would try and
Marshmallow
Marshmallow it in there, man.
Yep.
just smashing him with the
Come here,
floppy.
Tiny Tim.
Yeah, and he would try and get it in, and he couldn't get it in. But it's kind of I don't know how a serial killer's mind is wired, but I
Right.
am sure of one thing after doing this podcast for this long now. I'm learning a lot about serial killer minds, and they're just fucking wired differently, man.
They really are.
It's like an impulse thing for them. They don't want to kill. Some of them do. Some of them just kill to kill, but some of them are just
It's an impulse.
right. If I see a nice booby, I go hide somewhere and I masturbate with
You don't cut them off and hang them on your
no,
wall.
I spit in my hand and I use it like that.
Well, old Piggly Wiggly, he liked to. He thought he was going to help these hookers, right? So he was like, I can make these chicks better, and so he'd get them while they're all addled out on drugs and bring them home,
I love when I'm watching cops.
What a romantic.
and be like, all right. We're gonna get you guys better, and then they'd ask for drugs, and he'd be like, "Ah, fuck it, you don't deserve to be alive, you piece of shit whore." And
You're not getting
then
better.
just fucking kill them and feed them to the pigs.
Oh, that's bad. That's so bad.
Bad news.
I love watching cops, and there's the guys on there that they get arrested, and the prostitution stings, and the cops are like, "What are you doing?" And, I was coming to talk to you about my Lord and Savior Jesus Christ. I got the Bible right here.
Yeah, it's
That's
kinda,
a phone book, sir.
It was like the same thing with Dateline, where they'd get the guys that visit kids, and they're like, "I was just trying to tell them how dangerous it is to do this."
Chris Hansen with Dateline NBC. Why don't you open up that duffel bag? Well, I got some Mountain Dew, some zip ties, and
Some fettuccine Alfredo.
some gerbils. What are those gerbils for? Oh, they drink the Mountain Dew. You're free to go now, sir.
Thank you. All right, so going back here. So if a woman's sudden absence did draw attention, now months could go by before she was reported to the police as missing, like we've already kind of got into. So the disappearance of Sherry Rail, who vanished in '84. Sherry Rail for that's a bad name for a
I didn't mean to
hooker.
change my hooker name because my birth name was Sherry Rail, and that's what I wanted.
Good for her. So she vanished in 84. She was not reported for 3 years as missing.
God.
So in 87, the
You guys seen
RC
Sherry lately?
I think it's been about 3 years. So the RCMP set up a special team to investigate unsolved murders and disappearances of sex trade workers. It was disbanded in 89 because of limited progress. So as the rate of disappearances escalated, rumors of serial killers circulated in the downtown east side. So sex trade workers began walking the low track in groups.
Sticking together.
Yeah, and they were writing down license plate numbers of cars that picked the women up, and the disappearances still continued. So they were taking, preemptive measures to assure that everybody was remaining safe and, not getting whacked.
Right, and when the hookers hung out together like that in the groups, the nickname they used for them was the Crotch Cricket Crew. That's what they would call them when they were
That's a fitting name.
waltzing around town. I made that up, but you guys can use it if you want. We're going to get it trademarked on some t-shirts, the Crotch Cricket Crew.
That's pretty sweet. I like that.
Have you ever had crotch crickets before?
Never.
Can't shave them off. They burrow.
Oh,
That's what I heard, Kevin.
what do you think?
I don't want to talk about it, guys. It's a
Struck a nerve.
It's a sore spot for me.
And the thing about Canada is, okay, America, we specialize in two things.
Freedom.
Fucking steak. Steak and serial killers. We got a lot of fucking serial killers here.
We do.
In Canada, it's not nearly as much of a thing.
Yeah.
This guy here is a prolific serial killer, but in terms of Canada, he's a very prolific serial killer because he completely takes the cake. There's no one even close.
He's one of like 6.
Yeah.
He's like Borat, man. He's number one.
Very nice.
And then in 1991, the families of missing women, along with the advocates for sex trade workers, established an annual Valentine's Day Remembrance Walk as a memorial to the murdered and missing victims. They demanded a thorough investigation, but the police response was sluggish, like we cited before, that police were just kind of like...
It's bottom of the list.
What
Wait a
is
second.
that?
Did you say advocates for sex trade workers?
Yeah.
Or they're just like people who go like, hey, I'm really pro prostitute, so
Well, I think this is more along the lines of just people trying to stand up for...
Your choice to
Yeah.
do whatever with your body.
Maybe
or whatever.
that's or it's just people that...
don't want to live in a world without hookers.
Right. That's not a world I want to fucking live in.
Same.
But they did demand. They wanted a heavy police response, and they just weren't. At the end of the day, they weren't getting it. The Vancouver police refused to say that a serial killer was at work, or even consider that the missing women were dead. There were no bodies to warrant an investigation, and that's another big problem with this thing. Is when you think about what you would do with a dead body.
Mm-hmm.
One of the most common answers is, I would take it to a pig farm.
Feed it to
Right.
the pigs.
Yeah.
Because they will fucking eat everything.
Yep.
And what better of a way to really do it, to really take it to a pig farm? But this guy wasn't even, he one-upped it, and he said, I'm going to put her in the pigs, and I'm going to turn these prostitutes into sausage, essentially. Until one day, a guy was eating some sausage, and he found a tampon, half a high heel in his sausage, and he said, something's going
That's not
on.
where the tampons go.
No, I made that up.
It must have been a heavy day for that pig.
Yeah. This one's bleeding like a stuck pig. That was too fucking easy.
Yeah, it was way too easy.
Yeah. With the absence of the bodies, the police would the investigation would put a huge strain on the police resources, so they kind of didn't push this investigation along too much. To police, it seemed reasonable to presume that some of the women had just moved away and others had died from drug overdoses. What a fucking horrible thing. Just like,
Yeah, I think that, she could be dead.
hi, my name's Sharon, and I want to report my daughter missing.
She's dead.
I think she's a hooker.
Why don't you go ahead and tell me about your daughter? Yeah, she was a prostitute. Well, she's probably either moved away or she's overdosed. So we're not gonna chase after this.
Have a good day, okay?
The Vancouver Police Department was also hampered by its own reluctance to adopt newly emerging methods of investigating, such as psychological criminal profiling and geoprofiling.
Ooh.
Right. You ever heard of geocaching before?
Yes.
You go look for little treasure chests.
Yeah, I found your dildo stash, by the way.
I thought you hit that pretty well.
No, I did not. Well, the one's in me right now.
It was
but,
still warm.
yeah. Many of the missing women were also indigenous, just like some fucking Indians.
Like Aborigines.
Yeah. And as the Pickton case unfolded with its many indigenous victims, it focused public attention on the wider issue of missing and murdered indigenous women in Canada. This in turn led a national government inquiry into the issue beginning in 2016. In the spring of 99, an informant told the Vancouver police, this is good stuff right here, listen up, that a single mother and drug addict named Lynn Ellingson had seen a woman's body hanging in Pickton's slaughterhouse. When questioned by the police, Ellingson initially denied the story. Only much later did she admit that on March 20th, she had in fact seen the body, but didn't report it because she feared Pickton and depended on him for money or drugs, or money for drugs.
She didn't want to rat out her mule.
Well, yeah, Pickton was a big fucking deal, man. He had the
$3 million.
Piggy Palace. He was rich. He was giving
He
all
had
these
the can.
hookers C-Nos, man. Here,
And,
get all the drugs and goods you want.
There was the audio that came out fairly recently of him in the jail cell, and he's with an undercover officer, and he's in this jail cell, and he admits to everything. He doesn't know this guy he's talking to is an undercover officer. And that audio is on YouTube. You guys can check it out. Just look up Robert Pickton. We were going to play it here, but
It sounds terrible. Yeah.
You can't hear it at all. I mean, it's not worth it. But he says, he's like, I fucked up. I got sloppy. And we'll touch on that a little later on. But this kind of goes.
He knows he dropped the ball.
Yeah. At least he knows he fucked up.
Yeah.
And then in early 99 again, we're back to old Bill Hiscox, who worked for the Picktons, informed the RCMP that Lisa Yelds, a close friend of Pickton, had told Hiscox.
What'd she tell us, Cox?
She told Hiscox that she had seen women's clothing, purses, and ID papers at the pig farm. Hiscox believed that they were the property of the missing women. Police questioned Yelds, but she was uncooperative. It was the second time Hiscox had contacted police about his suspicions, but they could not obtain a search warrant based on hearsay evidence. Thank God for that.
Isn't that how they obtain a lot of
America.
warrants?
They required an eyewitness report of criminal activity or the existence of physical evidence. In 2001, the Vancouver Police and the RCMP formed Project Even-Handed, a joint task force to investigate the missing women. In early February 2002, Scott Chubb.
I laughed at that one. You got Hiscox, you got Chubb, you got
Sally Rail.
all these phallus names.
Scott Chubb, formerly employed by the Pickton family as a truck driver.
That's a porn name right there.
Starring
Scott Chubb.
We're so immature. It's horrible.
He informed the police they had personally seen illegal guns in Pickton's trailer home. So at this point, the police there are like, all right, now we're going to check this shit out because
Can't have no goddamn illegal guns around here.
No, this ain't, you think this is America? Can't have no goddamn guns or freedom.
This ain't Florida.
And then,
here we go.
And they really did kick the shit into high gear once they heard there was illegal guns. That information met the official requirement for a search warrant, not the fact that he's got dead women hanging up in his...
Well, that was hearsay.
Yeah. No.
It's going to get even better here in a second.
What you saw was a pig, man. On February 5th, officers of the task force raided the pig farm.
Here we go.
In addition to several illegal and unregistered guns, they found items connecting missing women to the property. The items police found inside Pickton's trailer...
So good.
A loaded .22 caliber revolver.
What did it have on it?
With a dildo over the barrel and one round fired.
From the dildo?
Was it firing through the dick hole?
Yes. He had manufactured this dildo in a silencer. I know it is very hard to take me serious as a human being. I'm being completely serious right now. He had turned this dildo into a silencer. I am making this next part up.
Can't imagine what
it sounds like disappointment.
It's like the fart gun.
It's like a wet fart.
Do you know what his nickname for the gun was?
Oh, please tell me.
It was the cock Glock.
I love it.
Is that true or did you just make that up?
No, that's completely false. They also found boxes of .357 Magnum handgun ammunition that smelled like shit, night vision goggles, 2 pairs of faux fur-lined handguns.
Smells like shit.
Yeah. Smells like someone shot these bullets through a used dildo. A syringe, and this is fucked up
Funny
to me.
story about
They
that.
found a syringe with 3 milliliters of blue liquid inside and a aphrodisiac called quotation marks Spanish fly.
That shit was Windex, dude.
That's pretty sexy.
No, the blue liquid.
I'm not gonna lie.
One of his friends said, the quickest way to kill these hookers is to tell them you're giving them heroin and give them windshield washing fluid. And this is a fucking true story. He would inject these women. He's like, I got some drugs for you right here. I got a full fucking syringe.
This is the Eisenberg right
I
here,
got
man.
as much as you want right here. And he would inject them with this windshield washer fluid, and it would kill them. Now, here's my thing. When you walk into AutoZone or wherever your auto parts store is, you see these big gallon jugs of beautiful blue liquid or orange liquid. That stuff looks like it would be delicious.
It does.
I've always wanted to drink windshield washer fluid.
Chase your Tide Pod down with that.
Right.
You're good to go, man.
Antifreeze.
We like to consume our Zimas rectally. We are known for butt chugging. Quick plug for our closed group, Butt Chuggers Anonymous.
Hey, answer that
Hello,
question.
fellow butt chuggers.
And if you're wondering the code word to get in,
No, listen.
his name's Bill Wilkins. Pickton was arrested on weapon charges and then released on bail. He was kept under surveillance. What the fuck, man? All this stuff they find, they still can't incarcerate
It's like a
this
dude
guy.
dressed up like a tree out in his yard.
He was kept under surveillance and not permitted to return to the pig farm while police conducted a thorough search under a second warrant. Among the evidence they discovered were women's clothing, shoes, jewelry, and an asthma inhaler prescribed to Serena Abotsway, one of the missing women. Dun, dun, dun.
You think
That's a terrible hooker name.
I
that
know.
should definitely be enough, you would think.
Right. DNA testing of the blood found in the also in his motorhome. They did some DNA
Murder
test-
home or motor
the
home?
motor home.
His pig trailer.
They did do some DNA testing of some blood that was found. It proved to be that of Mona Wilson, the one I spoke
Poor Mona.
passionately about earlier.
Yeah.
On February 22nd, Pickton was rearrested and charged with 2 counts of murder. That's it. 2 counts. A total of 26 murder charges would eventually be laid against him. That pales in comparison to what he was laying against those prostitutes.
Right.
While Pickton was being held in jail in Surrey, British Columbia, he shared a cell with an undercover RCMP officer he believed to be another detainee. This is fucked up, man.
You fuck pigs too, eh?
Yeah. I read you in the news there.
What are you in here for?
I was wondering what you're all about, and I just want to talk to you about all this and just see what you're all about. I got sloppy as shit. In the course of their conversation, Pickton said he murdered 49 women and he wanted to make it 50. He wanted to, and that's the way
He wanted that Floyd Mayweather record.
I want to make that big 5-0.
That 50 and 0.
quotations. Right. Meanwhile, the pig farm became the largest crime scene in Canadian history. Investigators took 200,000, yes, that's 2 with 5 zeros, DNA samples and seized 600,000 exhibits. Ooh. Archaeologists and they were looking for fucking dinosaurs.
Yeah.
Archaeologists and forensic experts needed heavy equipment to sift through 383,000 cubic yards of hooker shit
So
and
much
soil
shit.
in search of human remains. The cost of the investigation was estimated at, and this is why these fucking police
my
officers
God.
Yeah, it's fucking ridiculous.
$70 million for this investigation.
That is insane.
That was just for 2 bulldozers and 3 detectives.
That's pretty much all of Canada's income right
Yeah.
there.
How much is that in Canadian?
That's their federal.
400 million yen, I think.
Yes. Pounds.
Pickton's preliminary hearing, a court process to decide if there is enough evidence for trial, lasted from January to July 2003. Due to the unprecedented size and complexity of legal issues that had to be litigated, his trial and first 6 charges did not begin until January 22nd of 2007. And that was in New Westminster. Don't they do a really nice dog show there?
Yeah, the Westminster Dog Show. I don't know if it's the same place, but
Right, probably not.
I don't think so.
We pride ourselves on being wrong about everything.
Yeah.
On December 9th, Pickton was found guilty by a jury on 6 counts of second-degree murder and sentenced to life imprisonment in a federal penitentiary with no possibility of parole for 25 years.
How is it second-degree murder?
Well,
That's obviously premeditated.
That's where the botching comes in here. And
Are they saying it because he didn't know that the windshield washer fluid was going to kill him?
there was no way to link him to any of these murders, like except for the fact and I'm being serious here again. On the dildo, they found his DNA and someone else's DNA. So he not only fucked people with this
he fucked himself
with this fucking cock lock, he was fucking himself with it too.
Good for him.
The old cock lock.
I wonder if he kept it on the gun while he did that.
He likes to live dangerously.
That's all I want to know.
Oh yeah.
This dildo is loaded, cocked and ready to go.
And at this point,
Canadian roulette right there.
at this point, you're screaming. I'm screaming for the death penalty.
Yeah.
And that's why I've been really good about this. I've been getting with our researchers. Talked to Julie this week. I said, hey, hit me with some capital punishment stuff from Canada. She sent me a bunch of good stuff. The death penalty was abolished essentially in Canada. They can no longer kill people.
They did have the death penalty, but
they did. There's they used a lot during the war. They would execute people for
What war?
World War I and World War II. They would shoot people. They would hang people.
Yeah.
That was for treason, cowardice, all kinds of wicked stuff. But
Like if you're caught pissing your pants.
Yeah. Do you have hers pulled up over there?
I do.
Can you touch on that?
Sure. Yeah, I'll go into the last couple people that were executed in Canada. So the last two people that were executed, it was a man named Ronald Turpin, who was 29, and Arthur Lucas, who was 54. Now, they were both convicted for separate murders, and at 12:02 a.m. on December 11th, 1962, this is a while ago, so this was done at the Don Jail in Toronto.
Yeah, so the last executions in Canada were in 1962.
Yeah, before that it was 1953, which was a woman who was hanged named Margaret Petrie, and she says in 1953 for her assistance in the Albert Gary
That
affair.
was definitely what I was thinking.
Yeah.
And I didn't know anything about the death penalty in Canada. And another thing I did not know about Canada, they have a queen. Did you know that?
I did not.
Did you know who the Queen of Canada is? It's Queen Elizabeth, the same Queen of England.
Oh, okay.
She's also the Queen of Australia. She's also the Queen of New Zealand.
I know there's
Is she
a huge
the Queen of America?
Yes.
There's a French province. I know
She's
the French
the
province in Canada is crazy big.
The Queen of America is Bruce Jenner.
Aw. I would have thought it was Beyonce.
He was an excellent
They once, man. They once.
He was an excellent swimmer or whatever he did in the fucking Olympics. I don't know.
He was a decathlon, I think. That's what it was.
Even better.
But this is kind of cool, the Albert Gary affair thing. And I know I'm saying that wrong, so don't fucking yell at me for that. This was an incident that occurred on September 1949 that killed 23 people on a Canadian Pacific Airlines Flight 108. And this is all because Joseph Albert Gary, or Gary. I said gay. Gary wanted his wife dead so that he could continue his relationship with his mistress.
We've all been there, right?
So 23 people he caused to die because he wanted to continue his affair.
Oh, that's good stuff.
That side chick should be very flattered.
Must have been some good stuff, man.
That's the kind of shit that Instagram will make you do. That's what that's all about. Now to go back to Pickton here. Pickton claimed to have murdered 49 women. He was only charged with the murders of 26 who could be identified with evidence found on the pig farm, plus one identified woman whose remains were also found. She was given the name Jane Doe. That's kind of original. The Jane Doe charge was eventually quashed by the court because of a lack of information about her identity and the time of her death. After Pickton was convicted of 6 charges in the initial trial, British Columbia Crown prosecutors kept open the possibility of trying Pickton on the other 20 charges at a later date. However, on the 4th of August 2010, prosecutors announced they would not proceed on the 20 charges, saying a second trial, even if further convictions were achieved, would not add anything to Pickton's punishment. So it was kind of just fucking pissing in the wind at that point. And he got second-degree murder, and that's as good as it was going to get for them.
Yeah, pretty much they knew he's not getting out of jail. The rest of these aren't going to do anything to secure that anymore.
Right.
He's already facing as much as he can face.
We've already spent $70 million in this investigation.
Yeah.
The decision angered some of the families of the 20 victims and pleased others who said they were relieved at being spared the experience of another long and difficult trial. And a lot of the gruesome details of this trial have just been released in the past few years.
Yeah, because of the privacy.
They said one reporter I was watching online that these reporters in the newspapers and the media outlets in Canada, they had never really dealt with something like this before or dealt with a case with this type of trial or this type of information, kind of the gruesome stuff with people getting chopped up and stuff. We didn't really officially say it. We kind of hinted at it, but he was cutting the prostitutes up.
Yeah.
And he was making them part of the food that he was selling to the general public. He was not like a pork vendor. He was just making sausage and other pork products, and he was selling it to police officers. He was selling it to little leaguers.
It was just human meat, pretty much.
People were coming to him and buying these in large quantities to use in fundraisers, and they did do testing of some of the meat, and they found human remains in the meat.
So if you live anywhere near that place in Canada,
I hear
you
some of
probably had some human meat.
I hear some of it's still going around. But like I said, the reporters and the media outlets, they were fucking quitting at the drop of a hat as soon as this case was getting going. They're just I can't hear about this shit, and they were lining up like psychologists and like emotional support groups for these people that had to report on this shit because they're getting fucked up because of it. And then I think this is a cool part of the story. In 2016, an autobiographical book titled Pickton, in his own words, allegedly written by Pickton and smuggled out of prison was, who the fuck would smuggle something out of prison?
Right.
Smuggled out his
I love that prison soap. Every time I drop it, I get fucked in the ass. Take it home and see if it works. Someone smuggled the book out of prison. It was published by Outskirts Press of Denver, Colorado, and offered for sale on Amazon.com. Due to public outrage, the book was withdrawn.
Of course, someone in fucking America would be the one publishing
and it was a big...
Some dumb bastard.
And he just said in the book, he said, "Hey, man, this is a huge conspiracy. I'm the fall man for fucking this shit."
Oh, yeah, he feigned innocence the whole time.
Yeah, he did. As of February 20th, 2007, the following information has been presented to the court. During Pickton's trial, lab staff testified that about 80 unidentified DNA profiles, roughly half male and half female, have been detected on evidence. A videotape of Pickton's friend, Scott Chubb, saying Pickton had told him a good way to kill a female heroin addict was to inject her with windshield washer fluid. A second tape was played for Pickton, in which an associate named Andrew Bellwood...
Oh, my God.
God, is this... said Pickton mentioned killing prostitutes by handcuffing and strangling them, then bleeding and gutting them before feeding them to pigs. That's a good way to get rid of a dead hooker.
Yeah.
Photos of the contents of a garbage can found at Pickton's slaughterhouse, which held some remains of Mona Wilson. And they said when they did this big information dump years later, where all the gruesome details come out, they found skulls with like hands in it. They found like the dirty cock Glock. There's just all kinds of
$70 million well spent right there.
Death and destruction.
Oh, yeah.
So that's Robert Pickton. He's
good old pork chop.
Pork chop Rob. He's going to be spending the rest of his life in jail there.
Good.
Hopefully someone gets a hold of him and
pork chops his ass.
He still might make that big 50, man.
Yeah.
Who knows? Yeah, he might. What's he got to lose at this point? He's not going to get killed.
So, Kevin, thanks for coming and doing this with us, man.
Thanks for having me.
Thanks for
yeah, we appreciate
your contributions. Kevin was one of our he came to our original live show. I would like to say something about his wife now. She's offered to help us out with a bunch of shipping stuff and all kinds of cool stuff.
Yeah.
She's awesome. She's been listening to us since day one. I know we're very appreciative of her.
Absolutely.
And
I am too.
Yes.
Right.
I'll say that on the record.
Yeah. And Kevin, I believe you are getting deployed soon. You're in the U.S. military. What branch?
Navy Reserve these days.
Well, thank you for your service, sir.
Thank you, sir.
We
You're
do
welcome.
appreciate our veterans. And he said he's getting deployed to North Korea.
Don't say that.
No, you didn't say that at all. I made all that up.
Oh man,
He does get a pretty cool He's stationed at a pretty cool place.
Yeah, it's gonna be fun.
Yeah. Well, maybe one day when the tides turn and we can actually talk about this stuff.
25 years from now, right?
Right.
Yeah.
Back in my
We'll be
day,
here.
we did podcasts where we would sit naked around a table.
Rob and I actually talked today.
Yeah,
were
we
like,
did.
Like when he gets there, we should just like turn off the
Lock
lights
the doors.
and just take our pants off and see what he does.
I'd have been like, we fucking, this is how you do it? And I had to drop trial, man.
The one
going
thing
down.
I've learned about my military friends, those motherfuckers will show their dick anytime and they will shit anywhere. There is absolutely no shame in their game.
Everything's
at
a toilet when you don't have
That's
one.
true. That is absolutely true.
So thank you guys. Thank you, Kevin.
Thank you.
Thank you, Ashley.
Awesome.
I would probably say Ashley's better than Kevin, is my guess.
I would agree with that.
Yeah.
Okay. All right.
That's usually how it goes.
And her dick is almost as big.
That's good.
Good to know.
And if you hop on our Butt Chuggers Anonymous closed group,
yeah.
Ashley posts pictures of her wiener all the time. So you can check those out.
It's pretty great.
Thanks for listening, guys.
Thank you guys.
I love you all.
Love you.
Say bye, Kevin.
Bye, Kevin.